Just a few days ago, we ended up ranking all 15 levels of the prequel trilogy from LEGO Star Wars The Skywalker Saga. So finally, we are moving on to the original trilogy. Of the three trilogies in the game, this one feels to be the most complete and put together, which isn't the most shocking considering its long-time importance to the series. There's a number of interesting levels and characters that are available through the original trilogy, so let's get into it and check out the levels that make up A New Hope, The Empire Strikes Back, and Return of the Jedi. Number 15 is the Chewbacca defense. The penultimate mission of the original trilogy falls into last on this list, which should feel like the start of an epic final showdown with the Empire to round out the original trilogy just falls flat, as it seems to spend more time as a scavenger class tutorial rather than the start of the big final showdown from the movie. The Battle of Endor has been seen a few different times in LEGO games, having been a part of the original trilogy and re-seen again with the complete saga, and then also being a part of the opening mission for LEGO Star Wars The Force Awakens. So while I do understand the reluctance to reuse the same mission for a third time, this greatly slowed things down. The concept of playing as the Ewoks for the Battle of Endor wasn't bad, but unfortunately the execution just didn't land as well. Number 14, Hunk of Junk. The second mission of A New Hope plays out like a simple third-person shooter defense mission. It does a good job of introducing a few of the different stormtrooper enemies you'll see in the game, but very little of the level feels impactful. I'm not actually sure that Chewie can actually get hurt through this mission, so there isn't actually much reason to protect him. This isn't a bad level, but it doesn't play out as well as many of the others within the original trilogy. Number 13, Hibernation Station. A lot of the different levels in the original trilogy feature our group of heroes blasting their way through halls of stormtroopers to get from point A to point B. This level does a great job of utilizing the party member abilities to take alternative routes and methods to reach the landing pad, and the defense of the Falcon against the stormtroopers in Slave 1 is far more enjoyable than the Hunk of Junk level. That said, while some of the side rooms open up to exciting locations from the movie, the environment of Cloud City just feels sort of plain in this level. The scale just didn't feel as grand as the other levels and locations in the game. But that isn't so much a knock against this level as it is praise for the handling of the 15 levels in the original trilogy. Number 12, A Plan to Save Han. This level fell a bit on the boring side. The boss fight against the Rancor was great and a real highlight for the game. The look of this level is really nice and does help capture and adapt what the palace would probably look like if we were actually able to go through it ourselves. Again, this is a level where there wasn't much wrong with it, but the other levels in the trilogies just play out so much better that it ended up as number 12 on the list. Number 11, this is Some Rescue. Another one of the game's run and gun levels. This serves as the second mission on the Death Star as players jump from playing Han and Chewie to Luke and Leia as the four heroes fight their way through a battalion of stormtroopers to reach the Imperial leaders. This is a fast-paced level with endless troopers coming against us as we fight to reach our target. There are some cool movie moments that are spread within, including the gap jump performed by Luke and Leia. It's a fun level to play, but I can't say it stands at the same height as the level that comes just before it. Number 10, Fulfill Your Destiny. The Palpatine fights in this game are some of the more lackluster battles across the saga. The developers do their best to work with his reliance on Force lightning attacks as best they can, but these fights just can't match up with many of the more imaginative and creative fights through the game. This level is really saved by the battle with Vader at the start. I've been waiting since the original trilogy game to get this battle within a LEGO Star Wars game, but thought it would never happen as Vader always fills in as the second player. Palpatine's fight, on the other hand, just felt drawn out and repetitive. Thankfully, he does come down halfway through the fight to speed up the second half, but this still feels like a pain in comparison to the battle with Vader from mere moments before. Number 9, Assault on Echo Base. The opening battle of The Empire Strikes Back takes center stage in the second level of the fifth movie. It's a fun and quick level allowing players to take to the skies in snow speeders to take down the assaulting Imperial troops. It's a mostly straightforward aerial battle, but does allow for players to use the speeder's tripwire to knock AT-ATs down. My only complaint is that they have you fly through bubbles instead of letting you fly freely, sort of like the Battlefront games would let you do, but it's far too small a complaint to ruin the level. Again, I do wish that they had brought back the battle system seen in the LEGO Clone Wars game to help make the scale just a bit bigger, but it's still a fun mission nonetheless. Number 8, Stay on Target. This may be the most visually pleasing level of the game. I love the way this entire level looks and feels. Taking the new flight mechanics and throwing it into the Death Star trenches was one of the concepts I was most excited for in this game. The game does a great job of adding in quick, intense flight moments, having players race through the trenches. There's also a point where you get to fly around and destroy defenses, which also allows for the players to battle Darth Vader's TIE fighter. Number 7, Revelations. The Battle of Bespin against Vader is one of the best handled lightsaber battles in the game, standing up there with the battle against Anakin on Mustafar and Kylo on the Death Star runes. I do wish that the battle was a bit longer, as I feel Vader easily could have been given an extra health bar or two. Being a quick level, it's an easily repeatable and replayable one. Number 6, Boarding Party. Even if you're going in chronological order, this first level in the original trilogy will make you feel like you're playing a whole new game the second you get into it. Without the wide array of Jedi to play, the game shifts its focus to the third-person shooter vibes of characters like Leia and the Rebels. It also introduces the ability to wear the armor of the fallen stormtroopers and take their weapons from caches. As a final bonus, Vader's presence actually feels intimidating here, even if he is only a small minifigure. So much of the opening emotion to the film is conveyed through this level. It's one of the cooler levels of the trilogy. We're finally getting up to the top 5 in our list, but before we get to those, don't forget to let me know which levels you enjoyed and which ones you didn't, as I'd love to hear what your thoughts were for the original trilogy levels. Number 5, Never Tell Me the Odds. I certainly had a bit of a personal bias towards a lot of the cooler space missions within the game. This level is split between battling TIE fighters above a Star Destroyer and flying through an asteroid field chase. This was a lot of fun to get to fly through, especially with the asteroid field portion and the sort of tense battle you get within it. Number 4, the Kappa Katana. This entire level is just a fun, goofy whirlwind. The battle against Boba Fett is really well done. I like the way that the game went about handling both him and Jango, but Boba's fight is hands down the better of the two. And the somewhat ridiculous fight Leia and R2 have against Jabba and Salacious Crumb is something I never thought I needed in a LEGO Star Wars or even just any sort of Star Wars game. Number 3, Best Laid Plans. Never in my life did I ever think I'd see a LEGO game do a stealth level, and more importantly, do it well. The way the game goes about letting players blend in with the troopers on the Death Star really stands out. It was a cool level. I just wish my dumb ass didn't end up accidentally whacking a stormtrooper almost 2 minutes into every stealth mission in the game while trying to break something next to them. All in all, it's a fun level to get to play, and the Death Star is a fun environment to explore in this mission. Number 2, Endor the Line. The speeder chase in this mission is extremely fast-paced and exciting. You end up bouncing all over the map, being given different alternative paths as you chase down the scout troopers on speeders. I actually had far more fun with this mission than I expected to, having found it to be sort of a pain back in the original game. This feels far more like an actual speeder chase and is an exciting mission to get to play. Number 1, Hoth and Cold. I'm honestly a bit shocked that this ended up being my number 1, considering that one of the largest complaints I've had against this game is their weird choice in levels and the filler content sometimes being turned into one of the 5 missions. However, this level was an interesting one. The stealth around the Imperial probe droids, the obstacles and jumping puzzles to reach the radio towers, there was a lot of just interesting and cool things happening in this level, and it was certainly a good deal of fun that seemed to last the perfect amount of time without really dragging out. The original trilogy was certainly the best of the trilogies in the game. The levels were far more interesting than any other, and I found it had the most enjoyable levels, with there really only being one on the list that I didn't really care for. The game found an interesting way to keep things exciting, as they came up with some creative boss fights in lieu of the lack of lightsaber battles in this trilogy. Don't forget to let me know your thoughts on this trilogy, and we'll be heading in to rank the Sequel Trilogy levels in just a few days.